Hello and welcome to Little Sue. So I've had a couple of questions about my tea dyed papers and how I go about drying them and various other questions. So I'm going to try and answer as many questions as I can. So I'm actually reading off my tablet screen at the minute because this is where all the questions are. And so Mrs. G wanted to know, do you leave them stacked while they dry? Do they separate easily after drying? So right just now, these are the ones that I've just dyed in the last video. Just take you a bit closer. These ones here were on the very bottom and these are dry, and yes, I do leave them stacked. These ones here are still very, very wet, so they don't come apart as easily just now, but as soon as they're dry, they should do quite easily because I've actually left them during the summer. I normally leave them in the cardboard box and set the cardboard box outside where my washing line is, because it gets sun near enough all day and they dry quickly. The cardboard box dries really quickly out in the sun, and obviously the papers on the bottom stay a bit damp. So all I do is the dry ones that are stacked on top, I just flip the whole lot over, leaving the dry ones still in there. I know that sounds a bit silly and I could easily take the dry ones off and flip it over, but that's how I sort of did it last year. And I've got a pile here. Now, they are sort of divided by a Polly Pocket and some just plain grid paper. So these were the ones that I did last year. So I'm just going to turn you down so that you're actually looking at my floor. So these are the ones that I did last year. And this was the red and pink ink. I'm not sure how well it's coming up on the camera. I don't think it is actually. But this was the red and pink food colouring and the coffee. Now, these patterns are absolutely gorgeous that are on here. But these are the ones that I left stacked outside in the sun. And as you can see, they've left weird watermarks on them. But they all separated without any problem. None of them ripped because I did leave them to get bone dry before I took them apart. So I'm not sure if you can see on that one, but that's the blue I'm talking about, right on the corner there. Up here as well, you can see it's quite bluish. But I love the way these papers have turned out, and that's my coffee dyed ones that were stacked in the same lot. And as you can see, they're actually really dark. This lot here, this was my coffee dyed papers that I am doing the exact same way. I did this set over the winter with this lot here. Now, as you can see, this one's really dark compared to, say, that one. And these ones all got stacked onto the radiator, left to dry. I mean, I don't know what happened there, but they all got stacked on the radiator, left to dry, and that's how they all turned out. And they came off the radiator quite easily. As soon as they were dry, they all came apart very easily. There was nothing to it. and these two were done at the same time as well. So I did all these on the same day and put these on the radiator. I have noticed that with some of my radiator ones, the edge in here is actually a lot crispier and a lot darker, and I'm guessing that's because I put them on the radiator while they were still soaking wet and the coffee just dripped down to that edging there while they were on the radiator. So that is that wee pile. So I hope that answers your question, Rianne. So yes, I leave them stacked in the box over the summer. Over the winter months, I take them out, but I do leave them stacked. So they are still stacked on the radiator. They're just now in 2 piles instead of 1. And they do come apart quite easily. I haven't really had an issue. As long as they are dry before you try and take them apart, you should be okay. Okay, so the next questions come from Colette. And Colette just basically wants to know how I dry my papers, because Colette puts hers in the cooker. And I had seen people putting them in the cooker. So like I said with Rianne's question, during the summer I leave them in the box and set the whole box outside up near where my clothes horse is, and because it gets sunny enough all day, it dries really quickly. If they're not dry by the time the end of the day comes, I normally shove them in my shed overnight, because I find that the spiders like to play up in that area as well, which I don't have a problem with spiders, so I've not got a fear of them, but my daughter has. So I figured moving the whole box into my husband's shed, and my husband's shed's quite tight, so we haven't had any issues with spiders in there. And then I take them out in the morning and I set them back up if they're still a wee bit damp until they're completely dry. Otherwise, over the winter months, I normally, now if I can get this paper, I'm just moving you over. During the winter months, this is A3 paper. I normally grab a couple of sheets of A3 paper, and this belongs to Jack and Sarah. I set that on the floor, and then I put the tea dyed and coffee dyed papers on it. Now last Christmas when I did my grid paper, I didn't do that, and I actually just sat them straight onto the radiator. And that's probably why I'm finding that the edges are quite dark, because it's dripped down the side. But this time, doing it a couple of days ago, I decided to sit them on the white paper and let most of the moisture dry off while the heating was on, because it's been really, really cold the past couple of days. And I have just moved them up onto the radiator now, because that pile there is still quite damp. But that pile there is actually quite dry. There's just a wee bit of dampness on it. So hopefully there won't be any dripping this time. So that's actually how I dry my papers, Chloe. So thank you so much for your question. And thank you, Rianne, for your question. Now, Debbie found it funny about my red dye turning my papers blue. So I'm going to pause you and I'm going to move these up to the table, and I'll see if I can get this paper to actually show up a wee bit better. Okay, so this is my pink, red and coffee dyed paper that I did last year. Now, I think the colour's coming up a wee bit better up on the table. So as you can see, I've got blue marks and there is some weird colouring on these. Now, I honestly can't remember what colours went into these papers. All I know is that I did pink, red and coffee dyed them. That was another one where you've got like the blue right there, which I never used any blue food colouring, so, which was weird because I really wanted red paper because I thought it'd be perfect for doing a Halloween journal, or red paper for doing Christmas projects, but none of my papers have come out red. They're all this sort of weird colour. You can see the blue spots just up there. We've got sort of weird coloured splash on here as well. I'm hoping that these are coming up quite okay on camera. So I absolutely love these papers. I will use them. I don't know what I'll use them for, but I think they're quite unique. Obviously none of them are going to be identical to each other, all going to be really different. Now this was, I think some of these ones were the coffee and red, and as you can see there's no red on that. There's this weird colouring down here going on, which was meant to be red, but the red and the pink, that must have been what that first lot of paper is, the red and the pink, and it's made this sort of unique colour. But the red with the coffee just hasn't come out at all. And I honestly don't know what it is in the coffee, or what it is in the, I mean look at that, that's absolutely brilliant. Yet again, it's not red. But there's unique patterns all over these, and I love them. This was one of the ones that I noticed, the red. This was actually one of the main ones that I noticed that my red wasn't red when it went on the paper. It was this bluey colour. It's like a bluey grey. It's coming up. Sort of. It's like a bluey grey colour. I don't understand that. I mean, this is, I love this one. And it's actually come through on the back here on this one. And these are the ones that I had left out in the sun. I've used quite a few of these papers already that I left out in the sun from last year. I try and keep them in batches. So these ones go on one side of the Polly Pocket, the other lot go on the other side of the Polly Pocket, and then I'll put in a second Polly Pocket to divide up my new batch that I've just done from the previous two. I mean, look at that. You've got like a yellow, green, blue, and that is literally just coffee and red food colouring. And there's just no explanation as to how I've managed to get those colours. It's just a complete and utter mystery to me. And I'm betting that if I did this again, I wouldn't get the same results. Like, I wouldn't get these results that are absolutely gorgeous. So that is my weird papers, Debbie. I hope you liked my weird combination of papers. The fact that they're not red is basically the main point of that. I used red food colouring. Don't know what's in red food colouring, but it didn't dye my papers red, so I'm fine with that. These papers are gorgeous as they are, and I will use them for something. Maybe use them for a couple of journal pages, or to back onto tags, because some of these patterns are just really gorgeous, especially on the back of tags. So that is my tea dyed papers. I hope I have answered all the questions I think I had. Thank you so much for the questions. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.